how's it been a transition for you from going, being in the space of like senior manager, engineer manager at Uber to running your own shop now with obviously you have a co-founder and
Mhm.
you guys are growing your team. How's that transition been for you in terms of, kind of oiling up your own machine now to understand how to manage people and, now you guys have a lot of partnerships and a lot of these different components. What's
Mhm.
that transition been like for you and I guess for your co-founder as well to like, get adapted to that part of the running the business?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, it's in some ways a lot of the same thing, in some ways a lot of the different things, right? So, I think, like, in terms of at the end of the day, like, we're still trying to build a great product, and I think, like, in some ways we're very much biased towards, like, you know, all the implications of kind of like product-led growth and kind of like, you know, and maybe kind of the delusion almost of like, hey, if you build a really great product, like, people will come. And like, I think like when people use Replo, they like imagine this like really big company, and it's like they're like, oh my god, like I can't believe you guys like we just found out about you guys, and it's like we're like 10 people right now, we're less than 10 people right now, right? So it's like this like weird thing where like people expect this really big company, and then like also for a long time, like we were built working on a product, like we didn't have any customers. Like we had like a few customers, but it wasn't like this big thing. I mean, even now it's not a big thing, but like relative to where we are now, like a year ago, like we basically barely had any users. And like we were, like I think in some ways a lot of that like go to market motion we had to kind of like learn. It's like Twitter is like a really big channel for us, but like I wouldn't have guessed that ever.
Right.
I'd never used
Right.
Twitter. My Noah uses Twitter a lot. Like he's like really big into open source and iOS development. And he's like, hey, like we should get on Twitter and try this out. And I'm like, why the fuck would we use Twitter? It's like we need to like hire salespeople or something like it's something else other than Twitter. So there's like certain like
Right.
things that we definitely had to learn. But I think a lot of the stuff is still pretty much the same. It's like at the end of the day, you like hop on a call and like build a connection with someone, right? And like,
Yeah.
um, I think a lot of like stakeholder management and like figuring out like how to hire people. Like, I think a lot of these things carry over. Like, I probably did like 500-600 interviews in the course of like 3 years at Uber, like just like interviewing people every day. Like we were on their like hiring panel and everything. And like I think that also helps us inform like, okay, like how do we want to build out a team, right? And in some ways, it's a little bit freeing because now you're kind of like, hey, like we raised some venture, like we have this solid growing business, like let's hire and create the team that we want to work with. Like, and
Hmm.
I think that's like really nice because at like a larger company, a lot of times you're inheriting teams, right?